You think you're the one rescuing animals. But what if every time you reach out your hand, you are the one being tested? You kneel. A stray dog on the street hesitates. You extend your hand, slowly, carefully. You think you are offering help, food, safety, kindness. But in the dog's eyes, something else is happening. You are on trial because to them, you are not just a human. You are a pattern, a memory, a possibility, and sometimes a threat. So what do animals actually feel when you try to help them? The dog does not move at first. Its body is still, but its eyes are not. They scan you, your hands, your posture, the way you breathe, the way you lean forward. A tiny shift in your shoulder, and it steps back. Another moment, and it steps closer. You might think this is hesitation, but it is something far more precise. It is calculation. Animals do not see kindness the way you do. They do not label actions as good or bad. They read signals, patterns, outcomes. And in that moment, you are being measured against every human they have ever known. Because the truth is simple and slightly uncomfortable, to an animal, your intention is invisible. Only your behavior exists. In 2015, researchers at Kyoto University in Japan set up a quiet experiment to ask a strange question. Do dogs judge how humans treat other humans? Psychologist Kazuo Fujita and his colleagues invited dogs, their owners, and two strangers into a room. The owner tried to open a sealed container and asked a stranger for help. Sometimes the stranger helped. Sometimes the stranger refused. A second stranger stood by, doing nothing at all. Later, both strangers offered the dog a treat. You might expect the dog to take food from anyone. Food is food, but that is not what happened. The dogs consistently avoided the person who had refused to help their owner, and were more willing to accept food from the helpful or neutral person. They did not just react to food, they reacted to behavior. In plain language, dogs were performing a kind of social evaluation, judging who was worth trusting based on how they treated someone the dog cared about. But it goes deeper. At the same university, another group led by Hitomi Chijiwa asked a related question: can dogs tell who is actually competent and who is pretending? In this study, dogs watched two people try to open containers filled with food. One person opened the container smoothly, again and again. The other struggled, failed, fumbled, and never managed to open it. Then the dog had a choice. Which person should it look to? Which person should it approach? The results were subtle, but clear. Dogs, especially female dogs, paid more attention to the competent human as if they were quietly rating who knew what they were doing. Not because they understood intelligence as an idea, but because they were tracking outcomes. On the other side of the world, at the University of Washington, biologist John Marsluff wanted to know how crows remember specific humans. His team wore a particular rubber mask while capturing and banding wild crows on campus. A stressful, frightening experience for the birds. For years afterward, people wearing that same dangerous mask walked calmly through the university grounds. The crows reacted immediately. They scolded, they followed. They called out warnings. And here is the part that changes everything. Young crows that had never been captured also joined in the mobbing, treating the masked human as a threat. Somewhere between generations of birds, the idea of that one dangerous human face had been passed along. What this means is simple. Some animals do not just remember you. They teach others about you. But it is not only birds and dogs. Across decades of watching wild elephants in Kenya, field biologists have seen a similar pattern. Elephant families respond very differently to different kinds of humans. More tense and defensive around groups associated with spears, herding, or conflict. More relaxed around researchers who keep a steady distance and cause no harm. They notice clothing. They notice the scent. They notice the sounds humans make. When they sense danger, their behavior changes instantly. Tight formations. Adults moving to shield calves. A low, rumbling communication that passes quietly through the group. When they encounter humans who have only watched and never hurt them, their bodies soften. They keep space, but not panic. No language, no explanation. Just interpretation, built from years of experience. Animals are constantly deciding what you are, and they do it faster than you think. Even inside wildlife rehabilitation centers, this tension does not vanish. Observers in rescue and rehab facilities, from birds to primates to large mammals, see the same pattern over and over again. At first, Most injured or captive animals show clear stress signals around humans: raised heart rates, avoidance, defensive postures. But over weeks and months, something slow and quiet happens. Not affection, the way we imagine it. Not simple loyalty, familiarity. Certain humans become part of the routine. They arrive at predictable times, they move in predictable ways. Feeding, cleaning, treatment. The animals begin to tolerate these people. Not because they suddenly love humans, but because those humans have become a reliable pattern in a chaotic world. In plain language, they do not trust the person's heart. They trust the person's consistency. So, what does all of this mean for you? In that quiet moment when you reach out your hand, it means you are not entering a simple emotional exchange. You are entering a system of interpretation. Dogs are watching how you treat others, not just how you treat them. Crows may remember your face and tell their children about you. Elephants may categorize you by your clothes, your tools, your history, and the stories your species has written on their landscape. Animals do not see you as a hero. They do not see you as a villain. Your movements, timing, voice, and distance. Each one is a signal. And from those signals, they build a model of you. Not because they are cold, not because they lack emotion, but because this is how survival works. It is not kindness they respond to, it is predictability. It is not your intention, it is your pattern. And here's the part that quietly changes your role. You are not just interacting with animals. You are teaching them what humans are. Every time you approach, feed, chase, ignore, or help, you are adding to a larger story. A story the animal carries forward. A story may pass on through alarm calls, body language, or cautious behavior. So when an animal hesitates in front of you, it is not simply confused. It is remembering, comparing, and predicting, and deciding in a matter of seconds whether you fit into a safe pattern or a dangerous one. This is the invisible category you live in, not human, but this kind of human. What this means for you is unsettling and beautiful at the same time. You are always training the world to feel something when it sees you coming closer. Now return to that first moment. You are still kneeling. Your hand is still extended. The street is the same. The air is the same. The dog looks at you again. But now you see it differently. Not as hesitation, not as rejection, but as a question. A precise, silent question. What kind of human are you? It takes one step closer. Not because it understands your intention, not because it believes in kindness as an idea, but because in that instant, your body, your voice, your stillness fit a pattern it has learned to survive. All of it fits what its body has been taught to trust. And maybe, just maybe, that is the closest thing the animal world can offer you. You are not seen for what you feel. You are known for what you do. They see you as data.